Hello again. This is Brian Copeland talking. Welcome to another edition of Copeland's Corner. Joining me this week, all returnees. Tom Sawyer, of course, who is one of our executive producers. Carlos Alazraqui is here with us. Jann Karam is back. Good to see you, everybody. I appreciate you doing it. We're doing it early this morning. We usually do it late in the afternoon. We're early this morning, so excuse the bags. I'm drinking my coffee. So much is going on. So I just want to start with this. Okay, we got the government shutdown in its. I believe today's the 23rd day. We've seen missed paychecks. We have seen federal funding for infrastructure projects in Democratic areas because Trump wants to punish the blue states. We have seen mass firings and mass layoffs. On November 1st is when open enrollment for the ACA starts. And by the way, I'll tell you, being a comic and being self-employed, I that's my insurance is the ACA, and I just got my notification, and unless there's the subsidies are extended or permanently extended is what they need to be. My premium doubles. And I've seen that there are people whose premiums are going to go up 4 or 5 times. I was a little late getting started because I was talking to a friend of mine who is a single mother of 2, self-employed because of the fact that the economy is really turning to shit. And I'll give you some examples in a minute. She relies to feed on SNAP to feed her 2 children. In SNAP, food stamps, whatever it is you want to call it. 4.5 million Californians are on SNAP. Something like 40 million Americans are on SNAP. That's how they get their food. Effective November 1st, she just got a notification. Effective November 1st, there's no more SNAP. There are 25 states that are going to be completely cut off because of this shutdown. The shutdown that can end very, very simply by the Republicans saying, okay, we'll extend the ACA subsidies so that millions of people don't lose their health insurance. So I don't have a question. You usually start out with a question. I don't have a question for you about this because it's so. How do you take medical care and how do you literally take food away from American children while you're building a fucking ballroom?
Because you were never pro-life to begin with, ever. You were never ever pro-life. You're pro fetuses. You're pro leprechauns. Because I mean, they treat fetuses like magical beings. Like it's a lottery ticket. Like everyone's got a chance to be this one is going to be the baby Jesus. And if it's not the baby Jesus, then we're not interested in it. Throw it in the dumpster. We don't care. I mean, they literally don't give a shit. So they don't care. They never did care. It's always been about making the rich people richer. The only reason they went with the pro-life movement anyways was for everybody to make a dime, for the religious fascist right wing to make a dime, on their dummies. And, everybody gets played because these guys constantly fall for the same trick. They are literally Charlie Brown, constantly forming.
Football.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing in that. Well,
and they're shooting themselves in the foot. That's what's good. Most of these people, a lot of these people that are going to be affected by this are Trump supporters.
The majority of the people who are going to be affected by this are in red states.
Yeah.
Let me start with
this. They're effectively getting on the planes and flying to Guyana for the new village,
Well, I saw a great meme that said that the only difference between Jim Jones and Donald Trump is that Donald Trump would charge you for the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. But it works along the same lines. Given a chance, if you give humans a chance to be cruel, they'll be cruel. And
see, I don't believe that. I just in my heart of
I do believe that. We've given through misinformation. You've given the Republicans a chance to be cruel, to be vindictive, to be vengeful, and they're doing it. They're not only shying away from it; they're embracing it.
The
badge of honor.
Wasn't that all the part of Project 25? I mean, it was all part, like starve them out, deplete resources, break shut down everything, cut funding, cut
Yep.
departments, all that, disable the government. And that's what they're doing. So it's like, what's new? Why are we shocked? Everybody's always shocked that somebody's shitty and that they're shitty.
Yeah.
It's like an abusive husband. Like, how could he do that if I just talk to him the right way? But that's who these people are. There's no rationalizing or changing. We're all confounded by it all the time, by their neglect or lack of heart or.
I think for a lot of us, though, a lot of us have been screaming screaming out this for decades now.
Sure.
I mean, since Reagan.
Yeah.
I mean, Reagan started this whole ball of wax. That's always
one redwood.
Trickle down economics. Trickle down to all of us. Trickle on economics is what I always said.
Yeah.
I watched Schwarzenegger on Bill Maher, and I wanted to punch the screen.
Yeah.
I first of all, Schwarzenegger was totally just hijacked the conversation. Was pushing lies. I love him saying they're taking away the vote. They're taking away the vote of the people by the Prop 50. They're taking away the people are voting for it. You imbecile.
They're actually giving him the vote. That's his inability to explain North Carolina now or Texas was just appalling.
Yeah,
and
we don't have to fall in line like they do.
We need to listen to Trump.
Hey,
he said it during Trump said it during the campaign. If you vote for me now, you'll never have to vote again. That just kind of slipped by a lot of people. And I think that's very telling and very scary. I think he knows that these billionaires will finance it so that we won't get to vote again. So California is the exception, Mr. Schwarzenegger, not the consistency of what the Republicans are. It's exceptional that Gavin Newsom is allowing us to vote on this.
Right.
And this is what Pritzker and other governors should be doing.
And here's the thing. California is the biggest donor state.
Yeah.
I mean, period.
Still.
In terms of, we are the biggest donor state in terms of sending more federal dollars to the federal government in taxes than we get back in services. We are propping up all of these red state shitholes, and I'll call them shitholes because of the fact of when you look at the bottom in terms of poverty, in terms of education, in terms of income, it's all these states that are constantly berating California values. Well, if California with our values took our money away, they would be up a creek without a paddle. And I so wish there was some way legally and constitutionally for the state of California to say, you know what, we'll just take care of ourselves. We'll take care of ourselves. We're not going to send you a goddamn dime. We will fund our own health care. We will fund our own SNAP program. We'll make sure that our people are taken care of by the funds that are generated by our economy, funds that you need in order to prop up your toothless supporters who don't understand how government or how civics works. I know that that's harsh, but I'm just so sick and tired of listening to these morons constantly berate the state of California, when if it weren't for us, you wouldn't have the little bit that you have. Mississippi is always 50 out of 50, 49 or 50 out of 50 when it comes to education. But give them a chance to talk about how California is a shithole, and they'll do it. How California values have destroyed this country. Fine, then you know what? You guys just take care of yourself. Let us go. If we could take what are we, the eighth largest economy in the world?
I think it was 6. I think it fell from 5 to 6.
All right,
we're still fourth.
But California is measured.
We're actually moving to 3. Germany's fighting back, but because Germany's currently 3, but we're getting close to Germany.
California is measured against perfection, right? The state has a lot of problems. What is it? The In-N-Out Burger had to leave Oakland because it was so crime-ridden. It's so dangerous. Yeah. The policies where people could steal $750 worth of stuff out of a Walgreens and shut it down. Those were failed policies. Homelessness is on the rise. We do have all these problems, but we are a complex state. We're 40 million people. We have the ocean. We have lakes. We have snow. We have Hollywood. We have culture. We have the Silicon Valley. We have so much in this state that, taxes have to be high, because if taxes weren't high in California, 70 billion of those red state people would come over here and live and screw it up even more. So yes, taxes do have to be high because it's a premium state. You know what? we're at a steak place. You want chicken? Go live in the red states. We serve steak.
That's right. If you want to stay at the Motel 6, you're going to pay a lot less than if you stay at the Ritz-Carlton. But the accommodations and the services available to you at the Ritz-Carlton are going to be far superior.
California, like other states, is not free from its problems.
Hell no.
We're suffering a drought. Plus, we were trying to do something about it by building green energy. We're partnering with Belgium now, I think, to get some of our green energy projects funded. So we're doing what we can against the odds of an oppressive Republican regime. We're trying our best. And what I want to say to this is, I for many years I thought the standing of the national anthem is just jingoistic crap. We're not united. I don't know why we have to stand for the national anthem or pledge allegiance to a flag that means nothing. We're not the United States. When a whole Republican administration could pick on blue states and take money away from them like SNAP, that's literally not the United States.
Yeah,
so I don't know why we're standing for an anthem.
You won't hear me. You will not hear me use the phrase, one nation indivisible for quite some time.
No.
Because until we are once again, we're in a place where we can call ourselves indivisible. When you can target a state to punish because they didn't vote for you, or because they do not support you, and where you can literally starve. My friend I talked to has no idea what she's going to do because she's self-employed and her business depends upon customer service. And the customer service that she provides generally is provided by people who have disposable income, like those of us who work in theater or on stages. If people don't have the disposable income, they're not going to comedy clubs. They're not going to theaters. They're not going to movies. Because they don't have the money for that. Fox News this morning, this is unbelievable. They made a happy, smiley story they did about the big comeback of Hamburger Helper. How Hamburger Helper sales are on the rise. And they're the first time in years because people don't have money for groceries.
Powdered milk is back.
Yeah.
Did you do that when you were a kid?
Yes, we did powdered milk.
Yes, my mom used to mix it where it was half powdered milk and half regular milk.
Well, in our family, it was because Grandma nursed us.
Yeah.
That is
she literally breastfed you.
It's too early. This coffee is black.
I used to do that bit, by the way, Tom. Like in London, there was an ice cream parlor that made ice cream with human breast milk, and people would cringe and like, I'm not an animal. I drink milk from another species. Drinking human milk. That's disgusting. But yeah, I'm sorry, Jann, you took a shower. You should get to talk. I've been blabbing on and on.
I know. I took a shower for that. I know. I just think that
it's about time, might I add. No,
I know. I got up early. I finally did it. I just think that, it's so much propaganda and BS that people just recite, all the rhetoric. What's, the guy, and I can't memorize everybody's names. There's just so much. We're bombarded with information, but who's the new guy that just came out, the dark shadow, the real president, the president behind the president?
Stephen Miller.
Yes, Stephen Miller.
It's past Stephen Miller. It's the other guy. He's evil. It was just
Voight, the guy from Project 2025, Voight or whatever.
He has glasses. Wait, it was just
Mike Johnson.
No,
Mike Johnson's a
things that are incompetent.
Name that douche.
Things that don't know what they're doing.
But it's all
things that are racist.
Change the rhetoric and then have them repeat it, and then they get all the Republicans to repeat whatever the narrative is, and then they pass it down. So that's all it is that's why they hate the blue states. That's why, they can get all this support to come after us, to go get the blue states and try to just poison all of us and make everything so bad that we just crumble. They're trying to just get the whole place to just blow up so they can take over.
Well, I'm in this other Civil War.
Wait. It sounds like a conspiracy theorist, like they're just ruining us. But that's the whole thing. It's just based in evil, right? It's based in corruption, power, greed, all that stuff.
Just a quick aside. You may be thinking about talking about the people who are in charge of running this government, none of whom are qualified. When you got a 22-year-old former courtesy clerk with no experience at all in charge of domestic terrorism, simply because he said something nice about Trump. And there's a complete aside. My daughter is absolutely brilliant. On Saturday. On No King's Day, I was not there because I was inducted into the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame on Saturday, and I'm sitting there with my daughter during the inductions, and they're naming people who I grew up in the Bay Area listening to, and I started to get what a lot of African American people get in situations like that, which is imposter syndrome, because we are told no matter how hard it is that we work, that we still don't belong there. You saw what they did with that people would even dream of comparing Kamala Harris's credentials and experience to Trump's lack of, or Barack Obama's. And so you get that. And so my daughter saw that I was starting to get this. And she goes, Dad, she grabs my hand. She goes, here's what you have to do. She goes, women have to go through this too. Whenever you feel this way, you need to channel your inner mediocre white man.
Yeah.
She goes, that's what you have to do. Is you have to think of you, walk around and think of yourself with the same sense of entitlement that mediocre white men in this country are able to do, which is how it is that they succeed. And she's right. And again, look at it, Pete Hegseth, who wasn't even, who was just a weekend host. Hey, not even a full day. He wasn't even good enough for 5 days a week on Fox.
No, he was drunk the other 4.
A weekend host who said something nice about Trump. So now he's he's in charge of the armed forces. You Linda McMahon. You look at all of these people.
What's hilarious?
None of these people are remotely qualified.
What's hilarious is these guys. They do things weekly that would get a normal person fired from these things.
Daily.
Like two or three things a week that are just egregiously like fireable on that minute.
Yeah. But given what you said, Brian, how do you feel about Stephen A. Smith taking a knock at Jasmine Crockett?
I think that it's absolutely preposterous. I think that I love Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
And
I like Stephen A. Smith.
And I think Jasmine Crockett can take care of herself.
I believe absolutely.
I think Jasmine Crockett.
I tried to explain DEI to somebody online, and here's how I put it. I said, Al Davis was the first coach to hire Art Shell and Tom Flores, a black African-American coach and a Mexican coach. I go, that is an example of equality of qualifications. The qualifications are the same, but that is voluntary DEI. He did it voluntarily. He said, Art Shell and Tom Flores are as qualified as any other white coach in this league. So therefore, based on that, I'm not going to hire just a white coach. I'm going to give them the jobs that they deserve. And that is an example of voluntary DEI.
See, I won't use the phrase DEI because I believe that if you were somebody who's going to slam it, you need to say the goddamn words.
Diversity.
Say, I am against
equity.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's what you need to say.
Diversity, vasectomy, and institution.
That's good. That's good.
Let me get to questions.
The guy's name's Russell Vought. And
Vought, the guy from Project 2025. I said Voight. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, no, but
no, that's John Voight. He's a different kind of asshole. John Voight. You're mixing your assholes up.
Votes and Voughts. I didn't vote for Voight.
He's a significant force within the Republican Party, merging Christian nationalism with a belief in expanded presidential power.
The password is he's into child porn.
Yeah,
right.
Well, that's the thing about a lot of these guys too. Is I think a lot of them, if they all know that if we do get into power again, a lot of these guys are going to be facing jail time.
The Hague.
Well, that is my question. Is one of my questions I want to get to. Then I've got individual questions for each of you.
Okay,
and that is this. When Trump goes, when he either drops dead or when he shoots himself in the bunker with Ava Braun, what will
Melania screaming, being dragged in,
and when America finally wakes up And when we find out all of the horrible shit that we don't know about now,
right?
Just like when the Nazis fell, we found out about the world found out about the Holocaust. We found out all the horrible shit now. Who do you think, if you had to name 3 people, give me your top 3 people who you think will face war crimes?
Oh, wow.
Tell me, do you think there's
David Miller's number 1? Yeah,
that's on my list too.
Yeah, he's we're
Ryan
all
Copeland.
No, that's if he stays in power. Then it's then it's treason. This is
Voight's another
Vogt.
Vogt.
Vought. His name is Vought.
Is another guy I know, because I know you're talking about. He's another guy with one of those Tucker Carlson slappable faces.
Yeah,
you just want to. And what's her face?
Naomi Klein.
Watts or whatever.
Naomi Klein.
That I
know.
Why are we like our ice princess?
Oh, Christy Nolan.
She's going to be in. She's going to be.
Oh yeah, we'll just let dogs attack her. Just
it'll be like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
get a bunch of pit bulls on her. All the rescue pits at the shelter that are just sitting in their own shit. They can attack her.
Yeah.
And my apologies because
I didn't say shit. Oops.
My apologies to viewers and listeners because we are using a lot more profanity in this
We're so
episode.
mad.
We're tired.
Than we generally do. We generally, if this is the first time you're watching us, we generally are not.
Like you're not supposed to curse.
When I hear of a as I said, of a mother with 2 children, including one who's special needs, who is going to have no food to eat, and no way to pay bills in 6 days, while have you seen the pictures of
talk about a war on Christmas?
That's what the Republicans are going to say, though, is that they need to work. She needs to work. She should work. We can't afford.
And work. Okay, but work how? How do you work? How do you work when Nestle announced a couple days ago that they're cutting 14,000 jobs?
Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. But that's the nonsense they're throwing at it. That's the nonsense and the rhetoric and the BS, so that everybody can go, yeah, you're right, and then they can be against the working mother that relies on SNAP to pay for their children, but they impoverish everybody. They make it impossible to make a living. Nobody could possibly keep up, and they keep prices are skyrocketing. No one can afford anything. You can't buy a house or food or whatever.
No. Housing market is the worst. They say that the housing market right now. Well, let me give you a couple of economic things I found. The housing market right now is the worst in 30 years. It is the worst housing market
in terms of affordability.
In terms of affordability and accessibility, it is the worst in 30 years. Again, we're losing SNAP. We have grocery prices that are rising to the point where, as I said, people are eating
dogs and the
Hamburger Helper.
Dogs and cats, yeah.
Another indicator that they look at to see how the economy is doing, and that is missed car payments. People who are 90 days behind on their car payments, it's the highest number in 35 years. And that is an indicator when people are missing their
it's so crazy. Could I just add something? Because I always feel like everybody that has a car is keeping up with their car payments. And when I see that statistic, was it 30% or something that behind on the car payment? I was like, really? All these people driving around? I'm always envious. So I was just going to say,
how do they do it?
Oh, I'm glad you feel better. I'm glad you feel better now. And see, here's the worst.
Is that they have a car, and I didn't realize like a lot of people are struggling just because they have a car doesn't mean they're not struggling.
I did want to comment on the housing market because I don't know if this is callous or not. As a landlord, we own a couple of properties, and people pay rent. It's incumbent on us to keep the rent at a certain price, but the banks still get all of their money. So it becomes unfair to the landlord. It's like, wait a minute. I have to raise the rent because the cost of living is going up, but the banks aren't going to lose any money. So we're pinned. We're the bad guys, but the banks are always going to get their money. They're not going to lower their mortgages to help me lower the rent for tenants. The banks are going to help me. So we become wedged in the middle and become the bad people.
I want to offer the rainbow.
Thank you.
And this is the way I felt, ever since I saw them doing warp speed on a lot of these things, I thought they would be a lot more subtle about, is they keep thinking that they're going to be gerrymandering a lot of these districts. And my feeling is, especially based on polling, is that the Trump's numbers and the Republicans Party's numbers are massively in the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, on just about every single thing.
Historically, Tom,
right,
historically in the toilet.
And it's only going to get worse. In fact, what they're saying is, there's a number of people in studies that believe that the Texas redistricting is actually going to backfire on Texas, because they're counting on Hispanics voting the same way they did a year ago. They're not going to. In fact, the numbers show the opposite. And on top of that, all of these cuts, all of the economy, all the housing market crashing, all of this stuff is going to affect the Trump people. And there's nowhere to turn now, because he is saying, it's my great economy. It's my great this. He's taking credit for all of the things that he in his delusional mind believes that are happening that aren't happening, because he's surrounded by yes people that are constantly telling him how great everything's going. And those poll numbers, and they're showing him poll numbers that are written in a crayon, and go, here, this is the latest New York Times.
Let me give you some really telling polls. This one made a lot of news yesterday on we're actually recording. They were dropping for once on Thursday. Gallup had a poll. Well, actually, there were a couple of polls taken on self-identification of what party you belong to. Whether or not you self-identify as a Democrat or Republican or as an independent. In the first quarter of this year, in terms of those who identified as Democrats and those who identified as Republicans, it was a tie. Now it's up Democrat by 7 points. In one quarter, 7 points.
That's a lot.
That's how many who had identified as, and this is apparently historic in terms of this number this fast. Quinnipiac had the same poll. Quarter one, the Republicans were up by plus 1%, plus 1. Right now, it's Democrats by 3. Now, my question for you is, I'm asking a question for all of you, then I want to get to my individual questions for you. For all of you, do you think that these numbers are, remember, this is self-identification, where they'll call you up or however it is they contact you and say, how do you identify, Democrat, Republican, or independent? Do you think that these numbers are a blip? Do you think they're a blip, or do you think they're a trend?
I think they're a trend. I think with the soybean farmers, the Argentina getting $20 billion, the beef, the SNAP benefits coming to an end, the health premiums, if the government does get off the shutdown and premiums go up, I think it'll still continue to trend upwards for Democrats and downwards for Republicans. So I don't think it's a blip. Yeah. I think it's a sign of, as Tom was pointing out, things to come.
But here's the thing that I read or heard or yesterday was that his numbers, Trump's numbers, are going up a little bit because they're blaming the Republican Party on the fact that the shutdown. So it's like, hey, I'm doing what I can. I'm doing what I can. And so they're not equating or associating that the shutdown with him, and they're blaming it on the party. So
again, that's just ill-informed when he's the one that has ordered the MAGA Democrats. I mean, the goddamn House of Representatives, the Republicans, are not at work. They're on vacation. They have been ordered not to talk to Democrats and not to negotiate. Period. Just go home until Democrats cave and say, okay, we'll give you what you want and we'll take health care away from 20 million people.
And they're not swearing in the rep from.
Are you like Medusa or something? Are we
yeah, right.
Yeah. That was a weird visual. That was a weird visual. I think snakes are coming out of her head and stuff.
Let's see.
Medusa.
Okay, it's a black cat.
They're not swearing in. Johnson's not swearing in the Arizona representative.
Well, that's the other thing. That's the other thing.
So
we're not even. The Democrats should. I mean, it's the Epstein thing. I mean, I would get really dirty about it. Call you Pedo Don, Grinder Mike,
Yep.
All of these guys, and just keep hammering them. Play dirty like they do. Give them nicknames. They should start taking a page out of Newsom's book and really start just nicknaming these assholes. They get in the gutter with them. They've got a lot more demons in their closet. Because Democrats are like, I go to, I do this and that, where I'm out. I don't need to hide it. I don't need to crash Grindr when we have our convention in a town. Mm-hmm. We're all out. We're all dating. We're healthy. I'm dating a guy. So what? Who cares? Republicans are like, I can't possibly show that I like black men. So I have to hide it and pretend and have my beard with me at all times.
The one thing that is I'm actually looking forward to, quite frankly, is that you have survivors who one of the survivors held a press conference last week where she said, you know what? We're going to put out our own Epstein list.
Yeah.
Because we were there and we know who forced us to do
about what. Time.
We know, and so we're all collaborating together, and we all know the names because the names are nobody's in there once.
The government would not be shut down if we just believed women. Because they've already testified. If we just believed women and said, yeah, he's gone. But unfortunately, we saw January 6th, and that didn't stop people voting for Trump. No,
we saw it. And there's still people who are saying that.
Yeah.
And let me get to questions before we run out of time.
It's over.
Okay.
That's it.
Bye. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're the new format we've been doing over the course of the last month, and that is that I have individual questions for each of you. I'll give you some time to answer it, and then we'll let everybody jump in. Okay, Carlos, you first. Some of this we already touched on. Again, interesting poll, but not really surprising. In terms of recipients of the ACA, those who get their medical insurance through Obamacare, 45% of them are Republicans. 45% are GOP, 35% are Democrats, 20% are independents. 73% of all Americans want the tax subsidies extended. The question I guess I want to ask is, I mean, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's, I think it's like a sign of the book in the book of Revelations that when Marjorie Taylor Greene sounds sane, that it's the end of days. But she is looking at her constituents the same as all these. It's mostly red state the voters who are going to be affected by this. So do you think that there is a possibility here that they are going to fold on this because they're hurting their own? They can follow Trump or they can stand in front of their voters. They're too scared to even have town hall meetings because of the fact that they are. If you see the videos,
is the question supposed to be longer than the answer?
So I'm sorry, but it's a
question with an answer.
It's a complicated question. It's a complicated question. So the question for you, quite simply, Carlos, is: do you think there's a chance that they're going to fold?
Yeah, I think there's a chance that they're going to fold. I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a crack in the dam, if you will, because the constituents are coming to town halls and voicing their opinions on not just that, but on farming and all that stuff. But yes, I agree with the polling that most of the recipients are from red states because, unfortunately, Democrats probably tend to have more jobs that involve their educational background. Most of the people that are Republican that are on this in economic downturn are having more blue collar jobs, more straight up jobs. Those jobs aren't there anymore. They won't be able to afford their health premiums. So yes, I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene's apocalyptic stance on this is a sign that they will eventually, because of constituents voicing their opinion and the representatives actually hearing them, I think it is a sign that they will cave. I think it's trending towards the Republicans caving and saying, okay, and Tom already alluded to it. We're losing. All this Democrat shifting or all this gerrymandering, all this stuff is not working. It's cracking. They're going to cave.
But even if
Okay.
they cave, does that even matter? Because the power of of the Trump billionaire, billionaires who control everything, would that even matter? I mean, maybe they just want, it's an oligarchy. They just want everybody to cave and to the whole
die.
thing mantle, right? And then they don't need those people anyway, so they cave. So what? They're still in charge.
But they do. But Jan, they do need those people, because even if you're going to look at it as the oligarchs who are in control of the country, they still need worker bees.
Yeah,
it's very interesting because
they need the messengers, right? But if I don't know, because they're getting their agenda across anyway. They're doing what they've set out to do, and everything's just getting, like, all the departments that are being shut down and people being fired, and all the like the ACA being dismantled, all that, no more SNAP, everything else. Like, people are powerless, and then they have the power. They've already, this is the next thing, but. Go ahead.
It's very interesting, because this is what they always argue what the Second Amendment was always about, fighting tyranny from within. And they might, because of this trend with Marjorie Taylor Greene and saying, like, they're going to take it, they might start trending towards, wait a minute, we were always told the Second Amendment was to defend us against Democrats. We might have to rise up and defend ourselves against Republicans. It's the stuff. I remember when Trump said it, if Hillary gets in office, she's going to take away your guns and there's nothing you can do. Well, if you're Second Amendment people, there's something you can do. I think his rhetoric is going to turn against him. And it could get violent. It could be where his people are going, hey, man, I got my guns. I always thought we were supposed to shoot the Democrats. But hell no, I'm not going to stand for this anymore. I mean, I'm not cheering it on, but you're in danger there if you're Republicans, I think.
The other thing I would say about that, too, is look, Trump's not in good health. He could keel over tomorrow. And at that point, I honestly think the spell will be broken, because they don't have a number two that has the same hypnotic spell over them. They've had a lot of people audition for it, and no one's been able to even come close to his popularity or the thing he has over his people. Everybody else is a wannabe and suspicious. If anybody took it over, I mean, if J.D. Vance took it over, the cult would think that J.D. had him killed. Yep. So it all breaks down when he's gone. So, thank God he's not. Yeah, he doesn't have a replacement. He's not 59 instead of 79. Because there's Donald Trump Jr. isn't going to be there.
How about Eric? How about me, Daddy?
I look up on
TV. And Barron is just like, yikes. He's got that Damien vibe to him from The Omen.
All right, let's move on. Next question. Okay. This one is for Jann. Okay,
did we solve it?
We solved it. We're solving the world's problems. That's what we do here every Thursday. Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, Trump is sending ICE and the National Guard to the Bay Area, to San Francisco. Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff said last week that he supports sending the Guard to San Francisco. Quote, "We don't have enough cops, so if they can be cops, I'm all for it." Yeah. So he's got this big conference that called Dreamforce. It's an annual conference that he does for Salesforce. I guess it took place last week, and he had Kumail Nanjiani and Ilana Glazer were scheduled to perform, and because of those remarks, they canceled. And they refused to perform. So they went out and they got David Spade. And David Spade did the show and caught a lot of hell for it. And he says he didn't know the reason that they canceled. He was told that Kumail was sick, had COVID. That's what he said. That's what he said on the Fly on the Wall podcast. Yeah. The one he does with Dana. That he didn't know and he had no idea about any of this stuff. I'm sorry. I don't know David Spade personally, but this
you have an agent and a manager who knows.
It sounds like horseshit. I call bullshit. Oh no. Yeah. I call bullshit. I mean, how do you not know? So here's my question. Yeah. If you had been booked on this gig, if you had been booked on this gig and then Benioff said this, would you have canceled and it's good? I'm sure it's great money. So let's say that off the bat. I'm sure it's a real good chunk of change to perform at that show. Would you personally have canceled, or would you have done the show?
Gosh. Okay. No. Well, okay. Wait. Under the circumstances, well, how much does it pay? Like the Woody Allen. Okay, I don't drink, but how the vodka?
Oh, let's do this. Just a guess. Okay, my guess is, doing corporate gigs and a corporate gig,
200, 300, 400,000.
Let's say probably let's say
paid a lot. How much?
Just to pull a number out of my ass. Let's say $50,000. Let's say 50 grand. I guess Leno gets like 100 or something for stuff like this.
I think you get more. I think you get like.
Okay, well, it's just as a number. Let's just say 50 grand. All right. So if theoretically it paid 50 grand, you're on this bill. Okay. He makes this statement in support of Nazi occupation of San Francisco. Do you do it, or do you bail?
Is it open to everybody? Go ahead, Jann.
This is you.
Oh, wait. No, yeah, wait. Because first of all, I want to know, Carlos would probably get the gig more than I would. He'd get the offer. No, but okay. Allegedly, what's his name? Benioff.
Benioff, yeah.
Benioff.
Mm-hmm.
What's his first name though?
Mark.
Okay, Mark. Okay, allegedly,
you
Mark.
are dancing around this. You take the money. You're dancing around this.
I know. No.
Would you do the gig or not?
No, I wouldn't take. No, I mean. What do I need with $50,000? Okay, first of all,
a nice cat box.
So far, I make that in 5 years. Okay, but here's the thing: is he walked it back. He said, "Oh no, I didn't mean. I was just saying if we need it, but no." And he's allegedly, he's done a lot to help San Francisco, right? He's progressive in he helps, different. Yeah. So that's he says, because I watched a bunch and he said, no, he did walk it back. Was it sincere? I don't know. Did he get caught? I don't know. So here's the thing about Spade is because I listened to that fly on the wall thing, but he did steal my bit that he did on Saturday Night Live, the Get It, the Gap Girls. Okay. Anyway, that said,
you were dancing. You're like Ginger Rogers right now.
I'm talking about Spade doing a gig that did he know?
Would you, Jann Karam, would you do that gig after he made that statement? Would you have canceled, or would you have? I think
I would. Here's honestly, Tom. What do you think as my agent? No, as a former comedy club.
This is her spot.
Let me give you the shade.
Wait, hang on, Tom. Let's give her a spot. Then you can chime in. Go ahead.
Seriously, though, I would look into it. I would investigate it. I would see what was really up. He said it? Did he really mean it? He walked it back, but I think he walked it back the day of the conference or something like that. So, and did KJ and Lana cancel because they knew? Because Spade says they didn't know, that he got a call from his agent. Can you do it? He was on his way to Arizona. And then he's like, yeah, I'll fly to San Francisco. Sure. Then when he was on his way, almost at the gig, they go, hey, by the way. And he goes, oh no, what? And then he did the thing and it was fine and all that. Okay. So long story. Would I cancel based on a statement? I think I would need to look into it further to see what was the right thing to do. I would elect to do the right thing. That's my answer. I would do the right thing once I looked into what was the right thing.
You should run
I'm not for federalizing the states and sending in National Guard and ICE. I am not for that. So if he's for that and that's for that, I probably would turn it down because, look, I've gone this far without $50,000.
Well, let me help you put this in perspective.
Oh, okay.
As a booker, all right?
Yeah.
You're not going to get that gig. You're not going to be offered that gig. And that's not a dig to you.
I know.
That's my point.
But
is
Carlos,
you have to put yourself, first of all, in the shoes of somebody who's going to be offered that gig, and where that money, you might not need that money. If you're the person that is going to be offered that gig, you're most likely a person who's making six figures plus every year. After you pay your agents, after you pay your managers, you own your house. You can pass it up
Not
because
that much money. It's half the
that's
money.
what
Half
because
they
that
get.
is because it's
Half.
a couple nights, a couple of theater gigs for you. So as your agent and your manager, I'm saying to you, Jann, you've got enough money. We can make this up in a couple gigs. You don't need the headaches. Pass.
Yep.
That's a good answer. I'm going to take that answer. So Brian,
yeah, so it's not, it's kind of an unfair question to you, because you have to put yourself in those performers' pay grade. First of all, they're not,
that's a good point, Tom. That is a good
So the question could have been phrased, if you were in the position, if you were as making the same amount of money as those guys, given those financial circumstances, would you take the gig? Because I agree with Tom. I don't make the money that Gabriel Iglesias makes or Bill Burr makes. So going over to the other Riyadh festival or whatever, if they offered me $1 million to do it, I would say no, because I'm comfortable. No, I'm fine.
With Bill Burr, he went down so like a rocket in my book. I was like going, oh,
yep.
And his excuses were so pathetic.
Yeah, they all are. Same with Whitney Cummings.
Especially because, dude, we got so much history of you saying awful things. Free Luigi, and before that, people who performed at a thing for Gaddafi. Apparently, he went nuts on that to the handful of comics that performed for Gaddafi for a birthday or something like that, and what lowlifes they are. And he does the same thing, and his excuse for it was so pathetic. It was like, are you kidding me? You're Bill Burr, for God's sakes. You can't be saying stupid shit like this, because we have you on tape. We have your specials. We have you saying the exact opposite of this. So I mean.
No, you're right, Tom. And Brian, because I like what you asked me, and it's a really good question. And also I want to kind of rephrase it with what Tom said. So under this, if I did have if I was at that stature level and I was getting offered, if it was controversial, if it wasn't right ethically, and
ethnically,
and I would turn it down.
Those black people ethnically.
Yes, I would turn it down.
Look, it's
that makes it more realistic for me.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, and I'm going to apologize for that question.
No, don't apologize.
Because the fact that I did phrase that question wrong, because it does make a difference if you need, because I heard like back, I had the same agency that Lena was with back when he was first doing the Tonight Show, and my manager at the time had told me that he was getting $100,000 a night. He would do the Tonight Show, then fly to Vegas and get $100,000 a night. So if you're making that kind of money to where you don't need it, it's easy to sit here and to say no. I'm going to.
It's so much cheaper getting a blowjob from a homeless guy.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. It's not going to be a quality job.
You're so going to go to hell.
But also,
so going to go to hell.
Because comedy is so political, sadly, making a decision like that, your career, it affects your career, right? And who you are as a person, how you're seen, your brand, and all that stuff. Yeah. So if that's the case, I would make the right choice. Also what I believe in, because that's why I'm doing comedy, because of what I believe in and what I want to share and impart. Not just because I need the money. It wouldn't matter if I took that gig, because nobody would really know that I did it as me right now, right? They'd be like, oh, you did it. Like, and I could just go, I didn't even know. I didn't even hear. I don't watch the news. And then I would be like, fine. It wouldn't be a headline like it is Spade.
All right. So the Spade thing, and again, I do mean to throw shade. I don't know him at all. I do like some of his work.
I know I think he's conservative, and I think Dana Carvey is a closet conservative.
Well,
he's not. You told me he's a liberal. He's not. He
got some grief for cozying up with Bush Senior.
I know.
But the question here is, or just the statement here is, I just don't buy.
I know, like,
as much friend. Press as much.
I love Dana.
I do too.
So do I.
I know we all love Dana. I know.
As much press as this statement got, it was everywhere. It was everywhere. So I don't know how you say I had no idea. That's the only part of it. I mean, if you did it for whatever reason, you did it for the money, or you did it because you agree with the state, whatever, own it. But don't give me this, gee, I didn't know. I thought I was told he had COVID. I call bullshit. I just don't know how you avoid that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. No, yeah. So what do you have to say, Carlos, about it?
Yes, Carlos.
Yeah, if I'm listening correctly, I believe the statement from the CEO was that he would welcome the National Guard from other states against the wish of the governor itself.
Well, here's what he said. Okay, he said here's the quote, and this is from the San Francisco Chronicle, that he supports Trump sending the National Guard to San Francisco. Quote, "We don't have enough cops, so if they can be cops, I'm all for it," unquote. That's what he said.
If he just added the second part, and for example, if he would have said, "I support Gavin Newsom sending some National Guard troops upon the governor's request to go into certain areas to help policing," that's fine. You lost me at "I support Trump." So then I'm not doing it. Once you say "I support Trump," I'm not doing it. That's how much I hate him. That's how evil he is. That's how on the wrong side of history he is. If anything is prefaced with I support Trump," I'm not doing it.
Let's look at it another way too, which is how much money, nobody ever talks about how much money it costs to send the National Guard anywhere. Just think if you actually put that money into food, housing, mental health, rehab for the homeless people. Homeless people aren't homeless people by accident. And I always state this statistic that over 40% of homeless people work. They are working people who cannot afford last month's rent and the deposit and a security deposit. They can't afford it. They live in their cars. They actually work. They actually go to a job. We have where there's a line of RVs, in Nevada, people who are living in their vans and living and we ignore it. It's out of the way. We don't.
Oh, we're not ignoring it. We're criminalizing it.
Yeah, and we're criminalizing.
We're making it against a lot of the homeless.
Right. So we think our dumbass mentality is we'd rather put them in jail where it's going to cost the average taxpayer about $50,000 a year with the medical and everything, as opposed to actually, making housing affordable, have entry level homes for people that are poor that we've created.
Yeah.
We created by having this ridiculous minimum wage that is unlivable.
Yeah. And again, that's why I would say no, because this is a political stunt. This is not, again, the request of Gavin Newsom to do something constructive and productive. This is a political performative stunt that Trump wants to do. Therefore, I would not want to be party to that.
And Benioff can afford. Look, if Benioff dropped $1 billion, you think that wouldn't solve the homeless problem in San Francisco? The problem with homelessness, it's a national problem. So if we fix it in one place, well, geez. All of a sudden, Abbott, that asshole, sends buses of homeless people out of Texas over to San Francisco. So that's why it needs to be taken care of on a national level, not a state level or a city level. It'll never work. You have to fix this. It's a national problem.
Right.
And here's something else that in terms of looking at long-term consequences, the pretext for occupying blue states, and that's exactly what it is he's doing.
Yeah.
The pretext is crime. He's sending them there because Portland's a hellscape.
Yeah.
Totally on fire.
Yes, and so that's why he's sending them there, because of crime. Okay, so in the meantime, you are ripping away people's health care. You are taking away people's food. You have made it so that people can't afford groceries. They can't afford a place to live. You don't think that's going to make the crime rate go up nationally? Mm-hmm. Desperate people do desperate things. I, have not, to my knowledge, broken any serious crime. There was a time when pot was illegal, but I've not, broken any. I've committed any serious crimes. But if, in fact, it came down to I'm going to eat, or I'm going to die In a desperate situation, I don't know what the hell I would do.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us sitting here or any of you listening or watching would know what you were going to do if you had no means of support and there was nothing available to you. You had no way of getting food. You had no way of getting shelter. You had nowhere to sleep. You had nowhere to go to the bathroom. You're going to do whatever the hell it is you got to do in order to survive. The survival instinct kicks in.
Yeah.
So if you want to raise the crime rate, then put more and more and more, put millions of people in a desperate situation.
Yeah.
So that's the long-term consequence of this that nobody's talking about.
And the other thing is, a lot of people believe that a lot of statistics show that when our crime rate nationally started going down, it was the same time we stopped that Roe v. Wade came into play. So you had fewer unwanted pregnancies, hence less unwanted children, hence less criminals, and I think the stats prove that out to be pretty true.
But I really
that's from Gladwell's book.
Yeah, Clinton also put more cops on the street as well, though. And it's good policing, right? It's not just random policing as pretty much what they're doing with ISIS. Ironically, they're waving socialism, right? We'll pay for your student loans if you put on a mask and start hauling brown people away. But it's, smart policing. I think that's what Clinton was introducing. That also helped to reduce crime rates in certain neighborhoods. So it's a combination of factors. It's not just...
Well, that helped. But Carlos, it was, when you look at what Gladwell says, it makes a lot of sense. What the deal was is that after Roe became law in, 72, 73... By the time the 90s came around, those children who
20 years later,
who would have been born and would have been born in circumstances where they would have been raised in poverty and whatever else, they would have been the prime age to be committing crimes. But since that generation was not born, that's why the crime rate went down.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think that's a pretty big contributing factor for sure. We're not having unwanted...
Taking down the middle class and making everybody poor and homeless and, disabling everybody so you can have the very wealthy elite billionaires. And that's what Bernie Sanders is talking about all.
Yeah, the post-World War II, right? And after the war ended in the 50s and the growth of the suburbs, the corporate tax rates were really high. And that's what made things affordable for people to be able to move into homes and have great neighborhoods, have good schools, is the corporate tax rates were 60% or something like that? They were up there.
Oh, well, the top personal tax rate in the 50s was 90%.
Yeah, it was way up there.
The more you made, the less you took home, And what happened was my first job was at a supermarket, and every manager of every department owned a house, a new car, and a used car, was sending their kid to college, had money in the bank. They vacationed. They had 3 or 4 weeks vacation every year. Even assistant managers in departments were getting entry-level homes. Now you go in there, it looks like everybody's out on a day pass. It's like, there's always that cashier that has an old Band-Aid on her head, that should have been changed like 3 days ago.
Well, keep in mind too, as far as the housing
it won't stop itching.
As far as the housing market is concerned, and this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, the housing market is supply and it is demand. And when there are a lot of properties that are available, then prices go down. And what nobody's talking about is that when the housing market collapsed, you had a bunch of entrepreneurs form companies and LLCs, Sean Hannity being one of them, as a matter of fact. And Sean Hannity used federal money in order to do this, by the way. And they went into neighborhoods and bought hundreds of foreclosed homes for pennies on the dollar that they own today. You have entire neighborhoods where if you look at who the ownership is, it's not, Mr. and Mrs. Tom Sawyer that lived there. It's such and such LLC. And so they've taken literally thousands of houses off the market, and they're owned by corporations, would mean again that the supply is not as great as the demand, and that's what makes the prices go up. So you're going to see this again. This is the time when rich people get richer.
Yeah.
When things are shit and if the economy's shit and you've got money, you're in great shape.
Yeah.
Isn't JD Vance doing the same thing with farmlands with his company Acres or something like that, where they're buying up all the foreclosed farms and just buying up all?
Well, aren't they just isn't that the strategy? Like the farmers, lose everything so they could buy them up.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of JD Vance's companies.
Yeah.
Then
we all knew this, but when people get a chance to hate brown people for, they'll take the survival of their family's farm that's been in there for generations over a chance to hate on some brown people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we run out of time, Tom, your question. Okay, so no King's Day. We had over 7 million people showed up. The largest single day protest in American history. The first No King's Day back in, what was it, July?
Yeah.
Had 5 million.
Yeah.
Had 5 million. So the 7 million, the largest one day protest in American history. What, if anything, did it accomplish?
Well, one thing is, I think that it showed the right wing, especially, what a bunch of lying sacks of shit they are, because they were calling it Hate America Day. They were calling it, it's going to be nothing but terrorists out there, and Antifa and Black Lives Matter. They're going to be out there looting and rioting and killing your children. And it was like a bunch of like young people and old people holding signs that were, a lot of them were pretty funny. And I was out in Henderson, Nevada, for this. Last year I was in Napa, or June I was in Napa, and the crowd appearance, was the same. But the cooler thing was, in Napa, it was in a kind of a park area. This was on a really long block, and blocks in like Nevada, like around Las Vegas, are like LA blocks, or New York blocks. So there was about 3,500, 4,000 people, 2,000 on each side of the street. Amazing amount of people. And on top of that, you had tons of cars. I mean, the energy I got just from the amount of cars that were honking and raising their thumbs up and cheering and stuff like that, driving by. There were 200, I would say there were 200 cars to every one asshole where the Trump flag, or giving us the thumbs down, or giving us the finger. So it was like 200 to 1, of the amount of cars. So you're talking about like 3,500 people and another at least 2,000, maybe 3,000 people that were honking and showing support for the people that were out there with their signs and cheering and totally peaceful. In fact, it was amazingly peaceful around the country. Most of the reports are like a handful, and they're anecdotal reports of some like people getting arrested, but there was no big violence or no anything. A couple of arrests were made, but actually there were a number of arrests made by right-wing assholes that were trying to troll. Mm-hmm. One guy brought a gun and he was like, it was just there to protect me. And then they got me arrested by saying, he's got a gun. You're an idiot. Or you're trying to be disruptive, and that's what, there was a number of people that like that, especially some, online creators that were trying to right wing, that were going, I went there just to give my freedom, my freedom of speech, and I got arrested. Well, there's no video of what you got arrested for, which was most likely trying to troll, yelling at people that were there protesting. It's okay if you want to hold a sign. I saw people that were there and they were actually talking to other people, the Trump people that were actually talking to, people about the protests. And there were really good, calm conversations that were being had.
Yeah.
And because generally most people, regular people, aren't going to be like, they're in front of somebody. They don't want to get hit. I don't want to hit you. That hurts my hand. I'd rather just talk to you. I'd rather have a conversation with you and see if I can, change your mind and have you join us. And if we can't agree, then so be it. But I'm not going to raise my hand to you. That's stupid.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jann, let me bring you in. Your thoughts. Do you think that that No King's Day protest accomplished anything, and if so, what?
Well, I think maybe it accomplished more awareness, and it's promoting our voices, freedom of speech, and free to protest peacefully. And it demonstrated that. And also because they called it, hate day and hating on America and all that, but there wasn't any evidence of that. But of course they can, with AI, or they're just making up all kinds of stuff and nonsense and lies. But I mean, it depends on what channel you watch, or which
What
video.
feed?
Huh?
What feed you're looking
What
at
feed?
online?
Yeah, it's like channel. Yeah. Cable. I saw it on cable. But I don't I think if it moves the narrative forward, that it's the positive movement, and for the Democrats, or for the progressives, or for this voice to demonstrate peacefully, to bring awareness and send the message about this administration, how threatening it is to our democracy. I'm not sure what came out of it. I mean, do you know?
All right, well, let me ask Carlos to chime in, and I do have another question for you.
Yeah,
Carlos,
being a father,
and that is just real quickly. In addition to your answer,
yeah.
What did you think of the meme that Trump put out that day of
the
him,
AI?
The AI meme of him flying over and dropping feces on the protest.
I think it's a revealing of who he is and who he always has been. I'm not surprised. What is disappointing is that the lack of awareness of Republicans to comment on it. But I do want to backtrack and say that as a father of 14 and 11-year-old girl, I think what the No King's thing accomplishes is to fight off the indoctrination of what Charlie Kirk was trying to do on college campuses. So if we can get to children before they get to colleges, they're going to know a charlatan music man when they show up at a campus. And so that's what it did. I saw families and children and grandfathers and generations of families out there protesting, and that's a good thing. It raises a sense of awareness that we won't be duped by these people that'll come onto college campuses and try to sway us with indoctrination. So that's good. Yeah, the meme that Trump put out, that's the inside of his mind, or what's left of it. And again, after January 6th, when the Republicans became, I've said this on Stephanie Miller, everything that is happening today is directly the blame of the Republicans who lacked the courage to impeach and convict Trump after January 6th. So that's the mess. They're the contractors that ripped apart the house. We're trying to put it back together. It's all on them. So yeah, it's more of the same. If you're okay with January 6th, there's nothing Trump could put out in a meme that's going to offend you. And that's what's sad. That it's scary. In other words, my response to that is I'm very scared by that, and scared by the lack of response of quote unquote adults in the room. So
it's disappointing how numb everybody is and how they'll go along with that.
Yeah, that's Trump.
Well, see, that's what bothers me probably the most is the normalization, or what they're calling the new word, sane washing of this behavior. I mean, the fact that it's not the fact that the overwhelming majority of the people in this country are not storming DC with pitchforks and torches as we watch the East Wing of our house, of the people's house, be demolished so this cheesy ass developer can turn it into a gold ballroom while he takes food out of the mouths of kids. I just where is everybody?
Yeah.
Where the hell is
outrage? Where is the outrage? Where's
and how much you want to bet that he doesn't have any building permits?
Oh yeah, nobody's gonna get paid. Isn't it like $250 million? Yeah, no.
Well, here's the thing. It's being paid for. It's from my understanding, and
right.
please correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that you've got Zuckerberg and Bezos and all of these tech bros who kicked in to pay to pay
Now
for
they're
this.
going to own it or something. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because Obama replaced a tennis court with a basketball court. That foundation was already there. It's almost like when a multi-purpose arena just changes for hockey. It was no big deal.
No, or the other one they use is that Nixon put in a bowling alley.
Yeah.
But he didn't knock down walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't knock down walls.
Or roll gold-plated balls.
Yeah.
And paving the Rose Garden. It's like wiping life and history away and tradition, and it's
we are seeing that all is the inside of his mind being displayed fully for us on the outside.
Yeah.
We're getting to see the inside of his mind, which is just crap and destruction.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, when he kicks the bucket, it's all like you're gonna see a lot of brains just go, what there'd be like that thing, a cartoon thing where the fog is lifted over everybody's eyes, and they're like, what happened? Where's this come from? You know? And
I've got one thing before we run out of time that I wanted to bring up, just to sort of lighten things up and to show you how we live in different Americas. This was something on, I think it was Quora. It was a Quora thread where they asked people, or it might have been BuzzFeed, to talk about the biggest culture shocks they've had by going to another state. And some of the things were, like somebody from Utah didn't realize that other states sold alcohol in grocery stores.
Wow.
Or that you could buy it on you could buy liquor on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody put, I traveled to see family in the South for the first time, and hearing sweet little old ladies casually using the N-word shocked me to my core. Yes, I know there are bigots everywhere, but it had been many years since I'd actually heard people use racial slurs like that. The one that blows my mind, and it shouldn't, is driving through Texas. How a guy's talking about driving through Texas, and you have the mega churches that have billboards all over the place, and a lot of these billboards are really racist. And one of them that they showed the picture of was a billboard that said anti-racism equals anti-whiteness.
Wow.
And this is a billboard that is put up by a church. So my question to you is, and I know we being performers,
are we disagreeing with that?
I don't think Brian's qualified to host this show.
I think Brian's a little biased.
I know. I like
slightly, a little bit. So just top of your head, what is the biggest culture? And I'll tell you what. I'll start to give you the text to think about it. The biggest culture shock that you've seen going to another state. Me, it was going to Arizona. To visit a friend about 2 years ago. I've talked about this on the podcast. It was shortly after everything opened back up. I wore a mask for about a year everywhere that I went outside, after everything opened back up, to make sure I didn't get it. So I fly into Phoenix, and I take an Uber, and I get in the Uber with my mask on, and the Uber driver says to me, "There's no reason to wear a mask. We don't require that here. You can if you want to, but I want to tell you you're safe because my wife and I take ivermectin every day."
Yeah.
We take our ivermectin. We're okay. We don't have COVID. We take our ivermectin. And I was like, wow. So that was my biggest culture shock. Okay. Jann, you had one?
Yeah, I do. Well, just recently I was in Tulsa at the Hilton Garden Inn, and we walked into the lobby at the airport, right by the airport, that hotel. We walked in and Fox News was on, and I didn't ask for that to be on. I don't not culture shock because it's on at my parents' house, but that was kind of like, wow, they're really like, that's the choices, and I didn't ask for that. And then this young security guard came up to us. I was on the road with Boomer Broads with Leslie Norris Townsend and Michelle now like Krajewski, we were on the road, right, doing a show, and we were in the lobby around midnight, and we were talking and everything, and then the security guy came up to us, and he said, "Some of the guests are upset that you're talking with some of the stuff you're talking about. We weren't talking about politics. I was doing yoga stretches in the chair. We were just talking. I don't know what, maybe our liberal LA ways. I don't know, but they asked us to go to our room." And we couldn't stay there anymore. And I went to the front desk. I said, "What?" She said, "Some of the guests were complaining." I said, "But there's nobody here. Number one, zero proof and zero people. There's no one it was like a Twilight Zone episode. They had us go in our room. We couldn't stay in the lobby anymore."
And number three is this thing called the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
I mean, if you were out there cussing or something,
we were just hanging out, we weren't even talking about politics. And if we were, right, exactly, First Amendment.
Do you remember what you were talking about?
Just about the show, and I don't know. We don't think it was. I mean, even so, we didn't. Yeah, I mean,
I know you're talking about delicate
You have a
things.
notorious potty mouth, Jann.
Exactly. We weren't even.
I've gotten embarrassed a number of times being around you.
I know. But that was a shock.
C-word this.
Huh? You weren't.
C-word this.
Oh, yeah.
That.
Okay, Carlos, now you're traveling all over the time to these conventions.
And you guys, I have to go to the dentist.
Okay. Yeah. In the 90s, I was in North Carolina at a comedy club which had a mixed staff and a mixed audience, and they were talking about the Charlotte Hornets and the mascot, and permission to substitute the letter N with the letter P, just to make up a word because it'll sound jarring even though I'm not saying the word. The lady just went, "Oh yeah, then that Hornet thing in that little mascot, they got a little pigger boy in that costume." And I was like, "It wasn't pigger." And I was like, "Wow, you just tossed that out like it was like a bun at dinner. Like, please pass the buns, please pass the N-word." I was like, "Holy crap!" That was so jarring to me, just how casually that was tossed out. And she didn't mean it. The intent wasn't to be cruel or racist. It's just like, "Oh yeah, that's a word we use." Yeah. So that's what was so shocking about it. It's like, you're not even being mean, and that's worse.
Yeah, it's part of the lexicon,
right? It's this casual racism that just flowed out in the guise of politeness.
Yeah.
Well, she was complimenting about how athletic the Hornet mascot was.
Oh my!
Then using that word, and I'm like, that makes me angrier.
Yeah.
The thing that makes me think of is when I was a kid growing up in San Leandro, California, when it was well over 90% white, the kids called Brazil nuts N-toe nuts. That's what they thought they were called. That's what their parents called them. And, they didn't know. Wow. Tom, last word. Jann, I know you got to run. Tom,
because the dentist, they give me a hard time if I'm late and I can't find parking. Last time I got a ticket and I even...
I'm good. I don't go to southern states.
You're not a comic. You don't have to.
I don't have to. There's a lot of blue states I love.
But yeah, I'm going to conventions. I'm going to Jackson, Mississippi next year. I've been to Oklahoma. Oklahoma City is actually really kind of progressive, and the downtown is wonderful. I'm going.
When we were in Oklahoma, we were in Bristow. Yeah. Yeah,
I had a conversation with Cedric Yarbrough about that. What happens if somebody with a Trump hat comes up to us at a convention? What do we do? And we say, you're polite, you engage, you do that. But I get it. You may not want to sign an autograph for somebody like that, but we're not about that. We're trying to get past that. If they're being belligerent, that's one thing. But if they're just wearing a hat, I think I'm going to sign an autograph and say, this happened to me. Somebody installed a skylight where we have a property, and they had a Veterans for Trump thing in his truck. And I said, I'm not going to attack him. But I said, I just want to know, I'm a liberal. What is it about this person that you like? I know that's sort of separate, but yeah. We're going to go to places where we're going to be shocked by people and what they wear, what they say, what they do.
Yeah.
Let me stop you because Jann's got to run real quick. Jann, anything you want to plug?
Well, we're doing the Boomer Broads. I lied to get in. I'm not really a Boomer Broad, but no, I'm just kidding. But we're doing the Boomer Broads on the road, and it's the three women, clean, comedy, funny, and So
Awesome.
I'm doing that, and then I'm auditioning a lot. I'm auditioning.
Okay, so where can people see?
I go to Instagram, Jann Karam comedian, and and I have a YouTube channel, and Jann Karam, JANNKAR. Oh, there it is. Okay, so yeah, see me, and I'm working a lot in LA. I have a show on Sunday at the Comedy Chateau. I'm everywhere, and sometimes Dana Carvin goes on the road. I work with him.
It will be on the in the show notes.
I'm a boomer broad too.
Oh, you're a boomer broad too. Yeah. But good to see everyone. Thank you for having me on again, Brian.
Oh, you're welcome anytime.
It was good to see you.
Good to see you, Jann.
Unless you're making 50 kind of show and you don't have it.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Thanks. We'll see you soon.
Okay, so it's okay if I bow out?
No, it's okay.
Okay, thank you.
I hope you find parking at your dentist.
I know.
I gotta go. I haven't had a cleaning
to pay the bill.
My dentist went under. Take care. My dentist went under during the pandemic. I haven't had a cleaning since, so I gotta go. I gotta find a new dentist. He went under since. I'm lucky. I've never had a cavity. Yeah, I've never had a cavity.
Good for you.
Very, very fortunate. Carlos, where can folks see you?
Well, as usual, follow me on Instagram and Threads. Instagram will tell you about all the conventions I'm doing next year. I got about 8 set up for all these small Comic-Cons across the country. Sawyer Theater in Sawyer, Pennsylvania, November 7 and 8. Along with Jamie Kaler, Jason Godwin, and a couple of other great comedians. We're doing the Parents Lounge Comedy Show, 7 o'clock both nights. That's Friday and Saturday, the 7th and 8th of November in Sawyer, Pennsylvania. The Parents Lounge Comedy Show.
I had a line that made no sense. I'm not going to say it.
We're going to Sawyer.
You're going to
talk about kids.
Ignaz.
I'm curious because I follow you on Threads too, and you and I interact on Threads. And there are times that it does get heated, that we will have a tendency to shoot down bullshit, quite frankly, and we'll call it. And I'm curious because you are always at conventions. You know, for folks who are not aware, you are one of America's premier cartoon voiceover artists, and so you animation voiceover artists, and Rocco's Modern Life, among other things. And so people will pay money to have you sign their pictures or autographs or whatnot. Have you ever had anybody get in your face in those lines over something that you posted on Threads?
No. The opposite has happened where I'll have Stephanie Miller people say, I hear you on Stephanie Miller. Thanks for doing what you do. No, on Threads it'll happen, but in public, I cannot recall anybody coming up like, hey man, I loved Reno and I had no idea you were into this BS. I cannot recall a time that's happened. It's bound to happen.
You think?
But I think you're on your home court when you're at those Comic-Cons. Yeah. Because first of all, anybody going into those Comic-Cons has a shred of humanity. So even if they voted for Trump and disagree with you, they're still a nerd at heart and they love what you do. So you've got that going on your side. I think the opposite would be true if I went to a comedy club and I was a comedian on the road. It's not like you're doing a
cartoon when Rocco kills one of them.
Yeah, because people feel much more free to be controversial or vocal in a comedy club than they do at a Comic-Con. They're already half nerd, so they're not. I don't see it happening. But it might. I'm going to Jackson, Mississippi. That might be the place in which to test that question out, and I can let you know after that Comic-Con.
Do you have security?
No, not per se. You have con security, and basically the only thing we really... It's worse for women. It's really hard for women. Like Nicole Egger was a friend of mine, neighbor, still is. You know, when she would go out, it was difficult, but she'd get stalkers. A lot of female voiceover actors can be stalked as well. But no, there's con security. There's police there at the bigger ones. So that stuff happens. But there's been situations where people have had to like duck behind the curtain because somebody was threatened, but not for political reasons. It might be more for like the John Hinckley, Jodie Foster kind of weird reasons, you know?
Yeah.
But no, so far so good. And again, most people, they have weapons that they bring in, but they're all faked and they're all checked. But
cosplay stuff.
No, I don't have that kind of fear going into those places. It's just so many people are on the spectrum. So many people are with their kids that are on the spectrum. They're nerds. So it's kind of an atmosphere of kindness, misfits. And so every once in a while in a blue moon, you hear about something, but it's more rare than it is common.
Good. And so it's been a while since I've been to a con. I grew up going to cons. I'm a comic book guy.
Yeah.
And it's weird how the demographic has changed. You talk about a lot of nerds, but it's like, you see like girls there.
Yeah.
I mean, and beautiful, who are not the booth babes who are dressed in the Princess Leia, the Jedi outfit, but actually, I remember I went to get. Did you ever do the Wozniak con? Steve Wozniak's got a con that he does in San Jose. It's been 4 or 5 years. A great con. If you get a chance, you should do it. And I remember I was going there with my beautiful ex-girlfriend, and I was driving a Porsche Boxster, and she wanted to come with me to a comic convention, and I'm walking with her hand to hand in there, and I'm thinking, I wish I could high five my 15-year-old self.
Yeah.
right. Walking into a con in a Porsche with a good
with a girl that's dressed like Poison Ivy.
That wants to be there. That actually wants to be there. So.
There's a lot of beautiful women, handsome men that are into cosplaying. They dress like princesses or Guardians of the Galaxy, like what Tom has. And they do it to a T. It's a wonderful environment. Sometimes it's false, right? It's a false sense of security, but you're like, this is the way the world should be. There's an autistic person over there. There's a fat person trying to cram themselves into a Harley Quinn costume. There's furries. There's furries. There's Therians. There's black. There's white. There's Asian. Nobody gives a fuck what you look like.
I love that.
Or sound like. And it's like, this is the way it should be. Yeah. We're all here. And I'm a jock. For me, I'm so thrilled because I grew up a jock. You're going to be a drama. Are you drama fag? Now I'm accepted by the people I was bred to detest as an athlete in high school. And no, the nerds dig me. I'm a nerd. They love Rocco. They love the Taco Bell dog. They love the stuff, the video games that you've done. It's pretty incredible how you touch people at certain ages in their life. With Spyro the Dragon is the first thing I ever did in 1988. One of the first. I'm Spyro the stupid voice. I'm going after Nasty Nork, but veterans will come up from the freaking Afghanistan. Dude, this game saved my life, and you're like, holy crap! Wow. So it's pretty incredible what happens inside a con. I love it. It's a cool place to be.
It must be a trip because the fact that you sit in a booth like what you were doing right now, and you talk into this microphone in the booth, and then you go home to your family and not realizing that you have touched tens of thousands, if not millions of people.
Yeah, it's almost like you're a priest.
Yeah, it really is. And speaking of that, it is devoid of religions. I've met Muslims and Christians and Hindus. It usurps all of those religions. Nerddom is a stronger religion than any of those individually. It bypasses it all, and that's kind of, again, the way it should be. I love what you put out as a human being, and I came here to tell you that. And you're like, thank you for doing that, because sometimes we don't realize it. We do all our work in a booth, and we go home to our lives and we think, oh, that's done. I'm not Tom Hanks. I'm not Chris Rock, but somebody will come and literally at a convention where the Back to the Future actors are there, or the cast of Twilight, and somebody goes, I drove 4 hours just to see you. Really? You have your choice of airlines and you chose Spirit? Okay. I'll take it. It feels good. It's a great exchange with people. The hardest thing we have to do is with people we call con barnacles. They're people with autism that just keep coming around and around and around with the same questions. And you're like, man, I got to duck in. You have to have your handler say, oh, Carlos, they need you to sign something in the back. That gets exhausting, but it's not vindictive or hateful. It's just exhausting. And
well, I saw you in you did one of the shows, the Comedy in the Plaza show that I do.
Oh yeah.
And there was a young man who had autism who was there before you came.
Yes,
looking for you. Who was one of those? Was one of the, I guess you call them barnacles. It was hanging on. And when you got there, he was and you were so kind and empathetic and understanding. Never once did you make this kid feel like, okay, you got to back off now, or you're on my nerves, or okay, that signs your thing. You were so kind and so empathetic. You said to me, you go, I got this, because I was kind of concerned in terms of, I try to protect my performance when I'm producing a show, and you just went, I got this. and you were so great to this kid.
That's good.
It was just
thank you.
It warmed my heart. You were so kind. You were so kind. And for a long time, it wasn't like I remember Robin Williams once told me that it takes 40, that the average fan encounter takes 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And you can be nice to anybody for 45 seconds.
Yeah.
You were with this kid probably 45 minutes.
Yeah, he was there for a long time. Yeah. It's, generally you have ways that you want to, when it happens at a con and some people's like, I'll go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. There's just a few people I have to take care of, but hey, I'm here all day. Come back around again. And most of the time they may not. Sometimes they do. So there's ways you can protect yourself and things like that. But yeah, because you realize, again, they're not being mean. They're kind of being nice. They just have no filter. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. Sorry.
No. All right. Well, I appreciate you doing the show, man.
Thank you for pleasure. Dancing around all my scattered mind, and I apologize. I got to be better at organizing. So
no worries.
Go Blue Jays.
Yeah,
we'll come back soon. Tom, anything you want to mention?
I no longer have to see my parole officer.
Really? But you're still on the registry, though. That's the problem.
I know. So knock on some doors, meet some new friends.
You can't live near a park or a school. But other than that, real quick, I want to plug. I have revived Not a Genuine Black Man. My first solo show. I'm bringing it back because of basically they're trying to erase the history of people of color in this country by banning books, by banning Maya Angelou.
Colin Powell is gone.
By pulling exhibits from the Smithsonian. So it was my very first show. It ran for 8 years, ran off Broadway, and it's about growing up Black in a community that was well over 90% white. It's a book that continues to be taught in schools. I'm told it's banned in some school district in Texas, which I love. But I'm bringing it back, and I will be in Sacramento at the B Street Theater this Saturday night at 7:00 if you happen to be in Northern California. So if you go to briancopeland.com, ticket information is there, and as well as any of the guests you see here on Copeland's Corner in the show notes, all of their contact information, including their personal addresses, social security numbers. It's all there. Anything you happen to need. So, Tom, Carlos, thank you, Jann. Thanks for doing this. I just want to mention, please like and subscribe if you like what it is that you hear here. If you were listening to us, please go to your podcast provider and give us a 5-star review because it helps people find the show. We'll check you out next week, and hopefully the world will be a little better. I don't know. I just don't know. Till then, be kind to your neighbor. He knows where you live.